Do I have any shoppers out there? People that like to buy expensive clothes, people who are overly obsessed. They need to have the name brand clothing, the latest shoes. Are you one of those people? I've never bought expensive clothing. I'm just gonna have to keep it honest with you. I've always shopped on a budget, and I've always felt like clothes that had name brand labels on them were made out of the same material as clothing that did not stand out with brand name as much as real brand names have. Um, I've never spent money on clothes and then regretted it. Okay, the only time that I spent my own money on clothes, it was not a specific type of clothing, but I spent money on many clothes within the same day and from the same store. One time I bought $500 worth of clothing from Burlington Coat Factory when it was still Burlington Coat Factory. Now it's just Burlington. But I spent over or near $500 in one day. This was back in when I was in college. Um, I was around a whole lot of people, and I did not want to look nice. I did not want to not look nice in front of all those people. Knowing that I did not have um, the monies to continue um, that pattern up all the time, but I did have style and taste in clothing and what I liked and what I thought looked it nice. And I did not want to put on an image to where, I looked like I was struggling or whatnot. And all those people who was in college had, nice things and, I took advantage of me dressing nice. I had the pea coat, the trench coat. I accessorized in like turtlenecks. I had nice sweaters, nice polo shirts, some regular t-shirts, some nice Calvin Klein boots, um, nice steel toe and combat boots, low top also. Some nice other thin jackets to wear for when we're entering the spring or exiting the spring or whatnot for fall. I had some really good clothing, but even the clothing at Burlington Coat Factory weren't expensive, and we all know that. But when you spend a lot of money on a whole bunch of clothes in one day, then you'll be spending quite a bit. Um, but $500 may not be that much to any of you guys. Some people spend more than that in an hour, on clothing. Some people spend $500 on one thing, on some shoes. That has never been me. I've always been the type that am satisfied with what looks appealing to me. So even if it's something that's secondhand, that I found in a thrift store or a flea market, I rarely go to them, but when I do go to them, I'm not scared to pick something out that I think is nice looking. So I kind of do go to those secondary places more often. Um, because you find a lot of good things that people did wear, but you feel like you can do something else with this type of clothing, maybe wear it to a special occasion. They of course they wash the clothing for you, and then most of them I know do that anyway, but I always wash mine anyway, don't matter. Um, but I never really found it myself a type of person that overspent on name brand clothing. Like I just never. I love name brand clothing. I do. That's why I ordered me some Calvin Klein online. Some nice Calvin Klein boots. I ordered some nice Calvin Klein jeans. I've also ordered some a Calvin Klein peacoat, sweater, polo, Ralph Lauren that was always bought in high school. Not from me, but from other people that I knew always they just had to have polo. If it was a hat, and I love polo hats, they have really good hats. I'm talking about like baseball caps, like those. They had really, really good hats that fit just well. The color was so dark and essential, and it was bold and toned just right for like, and it goes with every outfit. So I really like that about polo. But I just never been the type to sit there and buy, um, clothing and been like I love clothing. I love shopping for clothes and stuff like that. But it's never gotten to the point to where it has to be name brand or I don't want to wear it. If you have an eye and you know what looks really good on you, then someone else is going to think value in you, and it's going to be value in you if they don't think it regardless, because you know how to present yourself and what to wear in order to go out there and put on a good image for you. Um, because a lot of times people would turn you away if they don't see that you're dressed up to par or at least look decent enough. It don't have to be the best dressed, but at least look decent enough for someone to want to approach you. Your personality says it all. Your hygiene is another thing. The way you look is one of the main things that draws another person to you. Um, and that's bottom line. Um, I just don't buy expensive clothes. Like I cannot remember the last time I even been to a store and bought something new. Okay, the last time I bought me something new to wear were a pair of shoes from Walmart, and they were about $23, and they have I've been walking in the grass in them, so you might see something. But these are steel toe boots, and they are short, as you can see. So that they're kind of short flat top, however you want to call it. And they were by Tread Safe, non-marking, patent pending, oil, and slip resistant shoes. I bought these because just in case I needed to go to work and I was going to be working in construction, I have some steel toe. They also like to say that it's really disrespectful for you to go used shoes and buy used shoes somewhere and put your feet inside of those. They say that's very disrespectful to your feet. But I've had times where I sat there and I bought some used shoes because I did not have the money right then and there to go get what I needed. So I needed something because it was an emergency. So, but again, you do what you have to do, but that don't mean that you had to pick something that don't look good on you still just because it was second hand. You can still look good in second hand things because someone else is not going to consider that second hand unless you tell them that it's second hand. So I like name brand clothing. I love nice clothes. I do. However, it has been a while since I actually went out and bought something brand new. However, I do find myself buying clothing that is new. It's just like um, they're like unplanned. And sometimes if they are planned, it's every blue moon because I barely go through a lot of clothes like I used to. Like I used to go through a lot of clothes, and now I'm like, okay, I know what I'm gonna wear. I limit to the time of day, however I'm feeling. If it looks nice, if it looks like it's something that can get you by, and it looks presentable and decent enough, I say go ahead because that's just me. I always have been that way. Well, for a point of time, I was not that way, and I cared about what I wear. I still care about what I wear. I don't like to look a hot mess going out anywhere. That's serious. But I've never been the type that do any of that stuff. Like I will literally go to the thrift store and find me something to wear that someone else has worn and call it a day because I know what looks nice. I know what looks nice, and I have an eye for things that look really good, and I don't need anyone to tell me anything different because if you've always been the type of person where someone had to dress you and you didn't like the way they were dressing you, so you came up with this bright idea that maybe you should start dressing yourself, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're if you're intelligent and if you're bright, you would know that mostly the people that you see with the nicest things on, 9 times out of 10, they don't even buy those things. Like you will be surprised at the people that you see that who dress really nice, who you think paid for the clothing. You'll be really surprised that that was something given to them that someone else had. It doesn't matter what you have on, just as long as you can see yourself looking decent in it, and you do look decent in it. It makes you feel happy. It makes you feel comfortable. It's clean. Yes, somebody wore it, but it didn't. You don't know. At least you know that it was worn by someone to have the decency enough to take it to the thrift store. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying go take a clothes. I'm not saying go rip off clothes of a homeless person or take clothes from certain boxes that's left out there in the street. No. Go to stores that have been taking care of the clothes that have been donated to them and find yourself something to wear. But you can still do your thrifty shopping without a thrift shop. You can go to certain stores that don't have too high of a price for their clothing. Um, of course, Walmart. I remember when I used to go to Stephen Barry's, um, and I mean, I didn't. I was really young, and I did not have the rich family like some of you all had. I unfortunately had a family that um, were pretty much middle class or below middle class. Okay, and I just knew that expensive clothing was not necessary, but wearing something that looked right on you, that looked decent enough, that's all that really mattered. No one's going to know where you get your clothing from unless it's a huge logo on it that says something, or or unless you actually told that person that you got your clothes from such and such. But why does it matter where you get your clothes from? Because it's so many other things in life that are important other than what you have on. If somebody wants to talk about what you have on or and pick at your clothing, then they are not adults. Only children pick on other people, you see. And when I was a child, even I knew that. You see, I was mature enough even as a child to know that you don't pick on someone. Well, not only that, I knew that there were more important things in this world other than just talking about clothing. Like you really made a joke about that. Um, but yeah, I mean that's how I feel. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, and y'all feel the same way also. I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for, but oh well. Yeah, so I have not. I can't even remember the last time I actually bought some brand new clothes. There's so many different things out there that will make us look good, and it's so many crafty ways that we can get things to look brand new again, and it can make us shine a whole lot different. But you have your choice and your picks about what type of outfit you feel is necessary for you to wear. I'm not making you, I'm not telling you, of course, I can't make you, but all I can do is tell you how I actually deal with things, how I go out there and make it a hit. If I was to find something in the thrift store and I had an eye for something and I knew that looked nice, and then I get more comments and compliments than the next person because I had more taste in style, in fashion, and knew what looked right, and I dressed accordingly, then oh well. Oh well. Um, but yeah, I guys, I can't even remember the last time I even went out there and bought some brand new clothes. I love going to thrift stores. I love going to flea markets. But mainly I like going to thrift stores. But what's the difference between a thrift store and a flea market? Um, there is no difference. Everything's secondhand, or some things may not be secondhand. It could be brand new entering the door, and they sell it. However, Goodwill has some really nice stuff too. But I've noticed that certain Goodwills are ghetto, and some of the people in there were overpriced. Like there was a Goodwill in Greensboro on, I believe it was West Lee Street, and they had. I just felt like some of the, and color has nothing to do with it, but I felt like some of the black women in there were overpricing some things way too much. Like if you looked at my last one of my videos, I'm not sure if it's still up there or not, but I bought some. Oh yeah, there's a video out there about me spending $20 for some work boots, and by the time I got them, I looked at it, the sole of the shoe was missing. There was a hole in the side that was glued on to the rubber part, and there were holes poking out of the shoes. Like I did not see this when it was on a rack because they had it neatly on the rack, just placed on there, and I seen what it looked like it was a little tear. It was a small little tear. It looked like it, but I didn't expect for it to be like that out of order by the time I finished paying for it, because I was just trying to hurry up and buy something and get up on out of there because I needed something to do. Oh yeah, I needed to head back to work. I had a job interview or something, and I needed to have my boots prepared and ready just in case. And I actually went to the bus stop, took my slippers off because I had on some slippers, and I needed some emergency shoes. And I put the slippers in the other bag and got the boots and I slid my foot in those boots, and the boots were beat up, and oh, it was horrible. So I posted that video on YouTube. It's in there somewhere. I said I spent $20 on these boots and I want my money back. That is the title of the video. So go search for that and you should be able to find me. If it don't work, put Christopher Williams DC and then put space and then put what I just said, and you should be able to find it. But there's nothing wrong with going to a thrift store. Your most creative people um, who get acknowledged the most will have on something that isn't name brand. Excuse me, unless you're a celebrity. Unless you're a celebrity, then you're different. Nobody wants to see you wearing anything that is, secondhand or anything like that. Not that it would matter. They can have they can wear something that's secondhand also and still make it look nice. So it just wouldn't be common and normal, or expected, or it probably won't even look right to have someone famous getting secondhand clothing unless they knew how to dress and how to present themselves when they're going out there, like going on a fashion line or something. When Tyra Banks had her show, she used to come on stage um and model off her little bracelet she got at the vendor at the side of the road in New York City, her shirt that she got from a thrift store, or her pair of jeans that she, and then men, we're men, so we can do it regardless anyway. It's not even gonna matter if it was secondhand or not. We can make it look nice. But it is nice to have brand new clothing and your own thing. So um, I don't I don't doubt it. I just got a little bit wiser and a little bit older and found more clever ways to save money and still look really decent. Um, I think that's the best thing that I could ever ask. Because if I was that type of person who needed to buy brand new stuff every single time with name brands and spend all that money knowing that there's other things that I can do with that money, I wouldn't I would be addicted. I would be obsessed and I would need help to get out of it. Okay, I would probably be always broke because I have developed a pattern that required me to be immune to the same old routine of going out there, spending money on clothing. And there are other things that you can do with that money, like save. So, yep. I don't mind wearing clothing that has been worn from someone else. I know that kind of sounds like kind of dirty and nasty, but when I'm talking about like thrift stores and like Goodwill, nonprofit organizations, then you should be able to think a little bit more different. Because 9 times out of 10, the clothing that you see on these celebrities, that don't mean that they're always buying expensive clothing. They're really getting that passed on, or someone is giving it to them, or it's just free clothes that they got from a dressing room. They didn't even pay for it. That's all on the media and on the television. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. I just don't want to see, um, people um, thinking that the world is going to end because they don't find any comfort in the clothing that other people are wearing, because they feel like they need to find comfort in brand new clothes, or something that looks just the same if someone had something from a thrift store that wasn't exactly brand new. To them, it's brand new. To me, it's brand new. So, yeah. There's nothing wrong with wearing secondary clothing. I mean, it kind of sucks to call it secondary secondary clothing, but if you think about it, it is secondary. And it's nothing wrong with it because it's the reason why it's secondary. It's the reason why it's there. It's because, and not all the clothes that you see at a thrift store are pretty, but there's a reason why someone took the time to bring that item to the thrift store because they felt like it was value in it. They felt like it was a way for you to find some type of use in it, and that there's nothing wrong with that at all. I can't even remember the last time, like I said, I went out and bought me something. I can't, not even a new jacket or hoodie or coat. I have not, because there's so many clothes out there that it's been given to us and that's been passed down and people don't even want them that are so nice. I'm like, oh man, I can wear this. No, why is it folded up and clean and have been washed and there's no stains on it? Oh, because somebody else saw value in it and they felt like they could use it for whatever reason. So that's the reason why. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually bought me some clothes, but I do wear clothes that come from thrift stores or um, Goodwill, nonprofit organizations. Like I said, if you really think about it, well, churches are kind of closed now, but a lot of churches have been giving out clothing also. Um, go to your local shelter and ask your local shelter, have you guys have any donated items? And I'm pretty sure, they have a box of clothing that you can go in there and look into and find something that you would like, and no one would even know where you got that from because, unless you tell them, then how would they know? The media says that, oh, their clothes cost this much, they get this much amount of money to spend on clothes, or they spent this amount, X amount to get this and that. But if you think about it, that's the media telling you that. You don't know if that was a secondhand item from your favorite celebrity. Like, you do not know that at all. So there's nothing wrong with buying clothing because you're going to buy it. So there's some value in it if you have to buy it. Even if you don't have to buy certain clothes, there's still value in whatever you're able to pull value out of. Just always remember that. Don't feel ashamed about going to a thrift store to find you something to wear because at the end of the day, it's going to be how you rocked it. How did you wear the outfit that you picked out? How did you make it look like it was worth $1,000 and you only paid $1 for it? Think about that. Think about how much um, respect you're going to get because you look presentable and that other person does not use their mind or their money wise enough to go look just as presentable as you do, and you get more attention. Boom. You got to know what looks good and how to maneuver your money and your vision so that you can pull on something extravagant without spending really nothing. Because I don't spend nothing on clothes anymore. I've been getting all my clothes from other people, or I found them. You know, um, well, I don't just find them, but I come across clothing and I don't have to pay for a lot of stuff when it comes to clothes. There's so many clothes out there, so why sit there and go to the store and buy this and buy that, and that's your whole freaking check. And people literally spend their whole check on clothing. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like I said before, I was spending all of my money on clothes when I was in high school. Oh, and when I was in college. And then I got out of that and I was like, wait a minute. People are wearing this one outfit all day. They're not always changing the clothes. So, and I already knew that. It's just that I was in a position like college and I have different people walking past me. So different people always had different something to wear. So I wanted to be up to date. Like, that's just me naturally. Like, I want something new to wear and change in every day also. Um, but then I've also found some comfort and um focusing more on getting to work and doing the job done right. And yes, you're still able to change clothes, but it don't have to be so as much because you don't feel like you're at a fashion show because you're not in school. But even at work, it's like I want to look really nice too. So that makes me feel good about myself, and that makes me feel like I'm going to continue to accomplish something because I've now feel motivated enough to do that because I know that I look good. So that's the only thing. That's not the only thing, but that's part of it. So see you guys. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll have something else to say, but I'm not sure when. So I'll just make sure I post this up for you guys. So deuces.